Good to go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September edition of the Athens in Motion Commission meeting. Welcome, welcome. This agenda is a little bit different than the one we published. So we have a special guest with us today, Patty Pittman with Safe Routes to Schools Georgia. So we're going to have her talk at the beginning of our meeting. And we have a couple folks, Athens in Motion commissioners running late. So we're going to approve the August meeting minutes later. We will run through some committee items. I've also front-loaded the updates for from our various committees and commissions. And then we will use the remainder of our time trying to get through some of Daniel's updates as bike ped coordinator. He's very busy and there's a lot going on. I don't think we'll get through everything today, but hopefully we can get started. And you'll notice that we are ending the meeting a bit earlier than usual at 5:20. So Teresa and I can be present at the T-SPLOSH 2023 committee meeting that starts at 5:30. So I know you guys are sad because our meeting is not as long as it usually is. I hope that you will just go on a walk or a bike ride, or I was talking to a friend today and he was out driving around listening to music. It's a lovely day. It's a lovely day to be engaged in some transportation. All right, so with that, we'll come back to those minutes and I will turn it over to Daniel to welcome Patty. And go right ahead. You're muted, Daniel. Uh-oh. Mic check.
Oh, poor Daniel.
Oh no, can't.
I think he's saying, I'm Patty Pittman with Safe Routes to School.
Okay, yes. Welcome, Patty. Glad to have you with us today.
Thanks. Daniel and I actually recently worked on the Tallahassee road safety audit. So I went along on that because there are several schools in that area and kind of looked at the infrastructure around schools. And he asked me to share what Safe Routes to School does, who we are, and maybe some programs that we have going on. So I'm going to kind of quickly go through. We do a lot more than people realize, I think. So I put together a small presentation. So let me just go ahead and go through it really quick. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And I'll just kind of go through what we do, and then if you have any questions or want to stop me, feel free. It's, I'm very laid back, interactive. So most people know Safe Routes to School for our stickers and pencils. We do Walk to School Day, Bike to School Day. International Walk to School Day is coming up on October 6th. And we incent schools to join us and to participate and do safety education and things. And so that is one of our big flagship days. We actually have 3 flagship days, International Walk to School Day, and then we do G-Walk, or Walk and Roll as we like to call it, in the spring in March. And then we have Bike to School Day in May. And in May, we've also started celebrating just kind of everything. So if schools want to do education or a walk to school day, give us their numbers, that kind of thing. We're delivering prizes to some of the schools that participated last spring. So, and things have looked different. We've had to pivot a little bit. Here you can see lots of pictures of our in-person events and us up and close and personal with the kids. And of course, over the last year, it's been a little bit different, but we're starting to get back to that, which is so exciting. Going out to schools, I'm actually going to be at where am I? Barrow Elementary on Friday morning for their walk to school day. So I'm super excited about that and just being back out in the community. And you can see from this little map on the top right, those are our schools. So that's where we've kind of plotted our schools. And currently those are our regions. So I'm that pink region at the top, and I go all the way down to LaGrange, that area. And then Metro Atlanta, the 3 counties in Metro Atlanta is its own standalone region with another coordinator. And we all work together all over the state to support schools and events, and especially transportation initiatives. So we have some main focuses, and the enforcement is, you may have heard, up for a little debate on whether we call it enforcement or not. Currently, we still are, just because we don't give tickets and we don't encourage that, but we also need to find ways to enforce rules, not only with cars, but with pedestrians and bicycles as well. So right now, that is a huge focus for us because our goal is to keep kids safe. I mean, at the end of the day, our job is to keep kids safe and to encourage them to walk and bike to school. So we do a lot with education, engineering, which is what Daniel and I were working on. Encouragement is the stickers and pencils and the way to goes and the TikToks and everything else that go along with that. And we've had some cool TikToks come in. So I would encourage you to look for Safe Routes Georgia on TikTok and see who's tagged us. We've had some kids do some cute ones. Evaluation is mostly just getting some community numbers and getting that outreach feel from the community. What do they think about it? What's scary to them? How prone are they to let children walk and bike? How do the kids feel about walking and biking? And then, of course, through everything, equity is a huge piece of what we do. Unfortunately, in a lot of the areas we see around Title I schools, this area in this picture is actually in an area that has 5 soup kitchens within about a half mile of each other. And you can see the state of their sidewalks there, where the majority of the community does not own cars. So it's so equity does kind of filter through everything that we do. So when we look at events and activities, I told you about our 3 big events. We do encourage kids to do at least 30 minutes of walking 5 times per week, or some kind of activity 30 minutes per week. Walking and biking to school is that meets that requirement most of the time. It does increase attentiveness. I cannot talk today. Forgive me. We also see higher test scores with schools that do walk and bike events. Some schools have adopted brain walks in the morning where the children get off buses and actually do a brain walk, and a lot of the schools will do some safety education with that. So, and of course, reduce carbon emissions. And we have some really cool resources for education that go along with that. With education, we're not only doing the environment, but of course, we're doing walk safely, bike safely. We tend to, I'm a Montessori teacher, an old Montessori teacher. I actually was a banker first and then a Montessori teacher. But so I tend to lean towards the hands-on education. So show me and I learn is kind of the philosophy that we've taken through a lot of our education activities. And here we're proving to the kids that if they can slow down an egg, it won't break. Just like a helmet, the foam in a helmet will slow down your head. And so I bring eggs in plastic bags, by the way, double bagged, and let the kids throw them as hard as they can. We actually had a UGA baseball athlete at one of the walk to school day rallies as a volunteer. And he threw an egg at a sheet that day, and it was probably going 70, 80 miles an hour plus, and it did not break. So it's a very good lesson to be able to show the kids. So we do a lot of those kind of things in addition to, bike rodeos and car events and before school, like the school opening events, that kind of thing. Anything that we can do to get the kids and the parents' ears. Halloween is a big one. I do a lot of trunk or treats in communities where I just go and kind of remind everyone to carry flashlights, put some reflectors on those dark ghost costumes, that kind of thing. With evaluation, one of our big tools is this parent survey, and you can see a small portion of the report from the parent survey there. We send those out. We don't send those out to every school. We send them out on request, and we do it quite a bit when we do walk safety studies at schools. And it just kind of gives us a feel for how parents feel about the area. And then it does have some fill-in spots where they can tell us about specific problems or concerns that they have. And it is done anonymously, which is nice because parents tend to give a little bit more information when they don't feel like there's going to be repercussions for information given. So we are able to generate these parent surveys as well. And they've been a really great tool. They are done through the National Resource Center out of North Carolina. I do not know how much longer we're going to have access to them because their funding is changing, but with this new transportation bill, they may be refunded. So we'll just have to see what happens with the passing of that. Then, of course, engineering. This is what Daniel and I got into. So we do travel plans and things for schools so they can find the best routes. We'll help schools find the best routes. We also look to plan walking school buses and bike trains, but all of those things can't be done if we're not actually looking around the area. So before we help to plan bike trains and walking school buses, and by the way, bike trains and walking school buses work just like a regular school bus, except you're walking in them or biking in them. So it's a group that go around and pick up other students and make their way to school. Great in areas where you may have to take alternate routes to stay away from traffic. They are also great in areas like Atlanta is a huge success area. They did a walking school bus through high crime, prostitution, drug ridden area. It actually ended up decreasing crime in the area because they got community backing in it and nobody messes with the kids. So everybody kind of came out, watched the kids, and they've had some great success with that. But a lot of that is right here, and you'll notice this is a picture of Elliot. I think we're right outside of Athens there. Elliot Caldwell, who used to be with Georgia Bikes. But we go around the areas and we not only look at what infrastructure is there, what we can do to make it safer, what kind of lighting is there, are ADA requirements being met, are there crossing guards, what's the school's procedure, how are the kids walking with traffic, is there a way that they cannot interact with traffic? Sometimes making the route safer for kids is just a matter of having them exit through the east door instead of the west door. It can be very obvious. And then we see in this very middle picture, I don't know if you can see this child, this is an intersection. The lights are red in the intersection. The cars are in the middle of the intersection. There's no crosswalks. There's no ped heads to tell the children to cross. And this is right by two schools. And a substantial number of children had to walk through there. So they have made changes to those routes, which is great. But that's why we go out there. And then we look for things like goat paths and what paths are people using to get to the school. How can grandma get to the school if Johnny has to go home because he's sick, that kind of thing. And then, as I mentioned, enforcement and equity kind of run through the entire thing. If we kind of go lawless with nobody following the rules, we have issues. We're going to have safety issues with the kids. And if we're not looking at the needs of the community around us, we're going to have issues with transportation and being able to walk and bike to school as well. So we do work in tandem with law enforcement, crossing guards, community volunteers, as well as looking at that environment around the schools. And we've done so with great success, which is awesome. Just in case your school doesn't have a walk to school, and I'll show you the list of safe route schools, but just in case your school is not a safe routes to school, it's very easy to be a champion of your school. It's really just about talking, acting, and then partnering. So partner with us, partner with Safe Kids, partner with bikes, partner with you guys, and then just organize a walk to school day. It's that easy. The most successful walk to school days to give that education, to give the kids the opportunity to try walking to school is in what we call try it days, is a walk to school day. but to give them that opportunity to try and walk to school is just as easy as, and to make it festive, turning on some music and handing out some stickers and saying, thanks for walking. So, and we supply the stickers. um, and then advocating for change. And I know that you all do an outstanding job of this, but like I said, walk and bike days, try it days. You'll see the picture on the bottom here. This is actually St. Simon's Elementary, where they had some issues with traffic and getting across the road. So their try it was to walk on the beach, and they successfully do walk to school days on the beach now, which is great. And then of course, pop-up infrastructure. And Daniel and I actually talked about maybe putting out some barrels and things like that, just to shorten crossing distances and things, just to let the community try it. Now, some current initiatives that y'all may be interested in that I'd love to go ahead and get out to you is, right now GDOT is buying safety equipment and delivering it to municipalities and cities for install. Two of my big favorites on this are the rapid flashing beacons. So the pedestrian beacons where you can hit the button, yeah, and it flashes yellow to let people know that you're crossing. And the pedestrian hybrid beacons, the ones that actually tell traffic to stop. So they flash red, go solid red, and, or sorry, they go solid red and then they flash red when after a period of time, so traffic can either stop or go through, but it does actually stop traffic. So those are the two big, super expensive, my favorite ones. And it's a very easy form. If you look at the top picture on the top left, that is the actual request form. And I have PDFs of that I can send to you, but it is that easy. I think that the big caveat is after you get the equipment, you have like 120 days to get it installed. I do not know how much money is left in this pot. I don't know when it will stop, but they're also doing things like signs, and I think Sam Harris is our traffic safety engineer, or state traffic safety engineer. He's also over the Safe Routes to School project. And he has been very generous in giving signs, and I think he's done some paint projects and some other things too. So it's basically, we'll give you the stuff and then you put it in. So that's a very cool thing right now. The other thing that Sam has a ton of, I feel like he's almost got his little basket full of LPI key switches. But the leading pedestrian interval key switches, he is giving out to anybody who wants them, who will put them in. You just have to tell them what intersection. So an LPI is basically when the lights, and you have some in Athens, where the lights go red and give maybe a 5-second, 10-second head start for pedestrians to get across the road before the lights turn green. So an LPI key switch is used near schools where a police officer, a crossing guard, a staff member, somebody can actually go turn on the switch during arrival and dismissal times and then turn it off. They have a key. Some lights you can program this in, but others, the equipment isn't quite as new. And so this switch works great. And it gives the kids a lot longer to cross. And you can see an intersection like the one in the picture. I think this is in Marietta, actually, where you have 50 kids trying to cross the road all at once. That extra 5-10 seconds can mean the world to those kids crossing the street. And then here is your area. So this is Athens-Clarke County, and these schools on the left are the current schools that are in the program. Now, our partner levels, we do have partner levels that schools can work to achieve. So basically, if you signed up anytime since 2009 when this program started and never wanted to stop, never asked us to stop, you are a school level partner. If you do things like give us your transportation numbers, host a walk day, do some education, have a meeting, do a train the trainer event with me, anything like that, then you start accumulating points. And the base the base is we want every school to do education and let us know what their travel numbers are, because travel numbers are kind of our gravy. That's what keeps our project going. So we like to get those numbers. So after we get those numbers, and you can move up to bronze, silver, and gold level status based on your activity. Now, these numbers, we actually combined 2 years, 2019 and to 2020 or 2021, because of COVID, because it was such a weird year. So these rankings are not what they normally are. I usually have mostly bronze and silver with a few gold schools in your area. But as you can see, we've got a lot of school partner levels. But Alps Road, where we did a RSA a few years ago, Alps Road, Clarke Middle was in that, Clarke High School was in that RSA. Those are all included in here. And like I said, I'll be out at Barrow. Oglethorpe's super active. They're usually a gold level school. Whitehead, usually, or Winterville, sorry, is usually a gold level school. Athens Academy does some education, but it's because it's a private school, they don't do a whole lot of walk events. They will do some occasionally. So that's kind of the schools that are involved. Now anybody can sign up. So this program is provided by GDOT to any school in Georgia, private, public. I've got some preschools, K through 12 that want to be involved. And a high school, we're looking more at like STEM education kind of things, where I go out, talk to them about infrastructure. Maybe we do some road safety analysis, and they're reminding their friends to, it's great when we teach a kindergartner to look left, right, left, and make eye contact with drivers to make sure they see them. But an 18-year-old still needs to do that. And so a lot of times we'll either get them to help us make TikToks for education, things like that, or just reminding them and going out for things like career days and talking about what I do is a reminder to them that they need to do those things, because I don't let an opportunity pass. And here is our team. Patty Sistrunk in the back, she's our project manager. On the left-hand side, that's Maria Elena, and she is Atlanta, and she's from Venezuela, so she's fluent in Spanish and helps us with most of our translations there. And then you see myself and Chelsea in the front, she is South Atlanta. And Kalisha in the back there is actually working on the Connecticut Rides and education program right now. But she may be coming back to us, we will see. She may like Connecticut just a little bit. So we will see. And here, of course, is my contact information. Reach out to me, send schools to me if you'd like. We're not actively recruiting schools because we do have over 500 schools right now active in the program with 4 outreach people. So it kind of limits our availability to be able to get out to places. So we don't actively recruit, but of course, everybody is always welcome. And I will do my absolute best to get out to anybody who's interested. Do you all have any questions for me?
So that list of schools that you had, that's, a fixed list for now. That's just kind of is what it is.
It is what it is. Like I said, anybody is absolutely welcome to join us. So you can, so if somebody wants to join in, or you have a school that's interested in joining in, then all they have to do, really all it takes is a teacher with a principal's permission reaching out to me and saying, I want to be a safe route school. They'll get emails with opportunities to participate. I send out grant information when I get grant information. But anyone who wants to participate is absolutely welcome to participate. And currently in this climate with COVID, we have neighborhoods participating as well. So if your school does not want to participate, but your neighborhood maybe wants to do a walk day, just let me know. I'll send you bracelets or stickers or pencils or whatever. And you want me to come out and do some education. I've done bike rodeos in neighborhoods during COVID. So it kind of depends on the community right now. Any
Great.
questions? Oh, infrastructure funding is always a big question.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, Safe Routes to School did have infrastructure funding. And so what we did is we had communities apply for projects. And for grants, we'd go out and we do a safety study, a corridor study at like a small RSA. And then we would fund certain projects. Right now, we do not have infrastructure funding. Right now, we're under a federal highway safety pot of money. So we do spend the majority of our time looking at roads and infrastructure and how to make that better and how to make changes to make it safer. But we can't actually do that. Now, with this new transportation bill, who knows? Safe Routes to School is a line item in it, so we may be able to get some more transportation funding next year or the year after. It just, politics depends on how things go through.
Right, right.
Questions for me?
Athens and Motion commissioners, questions? I guess I had a couple, and I think that we don't have a lot of time today, but so we've the leading pedestrian interval keys. Some of our schools have those.
Um, some of your schools have leading pedestrian intervals programmed into the lights. Like the lights have got the software basically that allows it to be programmed in. Most of them are down near the UGA campus, from my understanding. It seems like there was one by one of the high schools, which is escaping me. I was down there several years ago. But those are the only ones that I know of for sure. If you have a light that you are concerned about, the easiest way to test it, just as a layperson, is to push the button and see what happens.
So how do we get more keys? Daniel, can we
Well,
get
so I
keys?
think I think what she was saying was, so those are actually programmed into the light, and
Right.
those are our more recent ones. We don't have any that have keys, and so that
Yeah.
would need to start off with probably a discussion. Um, we want to make sure that the keys are going to be used and don't get lost, and so we would probably need to work with the schools. I know that some of the schools have crossing guards, and so I think first step would be to reach out to some of those schools individually and talk with the crossing guards to see, hey, is this something that you think would help? You know, because I mean, I've been I know that there's a crossing guard over here on Chase Street and Boulevard, because I've driven through there when that was going on, and so I know it does exist, but or those positions do.
Also, Chase and Prince.
Yes, thank you.
And that crossing guard was actually crossing guard of the year a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
Not that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so some of the schools, so here's kind of where I need your help with these things. So I give this information to the schools. I send it out in newsletters. And if you want me to include you in our newsletters, I can make y'all a friend organization of Safe Routes to School and then put your email. So if you're interested, please just send me a quick email and I'll put my email in the chat. But for an outside person, which is me, a lot of times to come into a school and go, hey, we can put this great switch in. I get a lot of like, what's she trying to do? Pushback kind of things. But when a local person says, hey, what do you think about doing this? I think we could benefit and I know where we could get it for free. It goes over a lot better. I do deal with a lot of rural schools and it particularly happens a lot in the rural communities. But so yeah, if you have intersections that you're interested in, by all means, send me an email and let me know. I'll kind of put it on Sam Harris's radar. And then yeah, if you think that it would work out for those schools, then we can definitely get that done. I think it's pretty much as easy as him sticking the switch in an envelope and somebody in Clarke County or Athens installing it.
Yeah, That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Daniel,
Teresa?
I got a question. So we wouldn't have to replace the traffic signal, we could just add it on?
Yep, it just gets added in and wired in.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I asked and they said it's a super easy process if you know what you're doing.
All right, well, I don't, so I
I
wouldn't.
don't
do it, but-
either.
Well, luckily our guys do.
Yeah. I was interested, we have a couple of schools that are kind of out in the boonies, where the population is not dense. So there's not a lot of walking to school happening. I mean, would there be any point in trying to talk to those schools or not?
Absolutely. Actually, one of our partners of the year, our partner schools of the year, 2 years ago, is in the middle of cornfields. I think the closest child is about 1.5 miles from the school. And they have a hugely successful program. So what she does is she does walk at schools, and she's taken it. The kids love it so much. She does it every morning now. PE teacher is my champion at that school. But she started with just opening the gym for some of the walk event days and then giving them a couple of little pointers that they had to walk around like 5 times. They had to walk around the gym 5 times and then give her back one of the pedestrian safety rules. So she did a little bit of education with the walk at school and got the kids involved that way. Since then, she's done bike education. It's a small school of 250 elementary school students. I think they walked 50,000 miles last year is what they logged. So she's entered math into it with distance and carbon calculations and all kinds of things. So it's amazing what just getting the kids active, how excited they get about it.
Mhm.
The
That's really
logging
good.
miles.
It's awesome. Thank you.
You bet. We also have, I should mention, we also have some videos. We have a YouTube channel with some videos on it. We've got a quick 10-minute, it's actually 8.5-minute video on pedestrian safety and bicycle safety that we partnered with a bunch of people across the street to, or across the state to do. We've got a little heads up video on what it looks like to see a pedestrian from a car in the dark. And that's just a short little 1-minute video. My son Robert starred in that for us, much chagrin. So we've got little tidbits like that, and we do post to Facebook and Instagram a good bit as well.
I was curious, with the RRFBs, one of our bigger issues with that operationally is just we only have 2 signal techs. And so, we'd love to add them in at every spot you need them, but we don't have the staffing to keep up with it. And so we've been researching, there's some like kind of add-on boxes and stuff to make it where you can kind of plug it into the network, and then it's like whether it's radio or fiber, I'm not really sure, but you can basically kind of create a smart RRFB, which those are a lot more expensive out of the normal kinds. And so I don't know how much you know, and this might be a question for Sam, but is that something that you've seen people do, or where they'll get like an extra battery alongside it? Just in terms of like the maintenance?
That is the Sam question. And he's actually a great person because not only is he our safety engineer, but he used to be traffic signals in GDOT. So he probably has extensive knowledge in this.
Perfect. Well, I have some other things to talk with him about, so I'll reach out.
Okay, great. And you have, of course, you have his information because that's how you got to me. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Patty. I think, we're a commission to implement our local bike and pedestrian master plan, and we can get really focused on infrastructure. And in Athens-Clarke County, we're lucky to have SPLOST funding at all, but it's just not enough. I mean, Daniel has a project submitted that includes some opportunities to build sidewalks from our schools. So it's encouraging to to see the ways that Safe Routes to School thinks creatively about encouraging walking. And I love the idea. I love that the the walking bus, or the what is that called?
It's a walking school bus. We
Yes.
have some literature on it on our site. Too.
Yeah.
I'll put a link in the chat. But we did an active transportation page that has some of that information kind of linked into it for COVID. So I'll send you a link to that. But the walking school bus is a lot of fun. And on sidewalks, I think it was Massachusetts. I was talking to their Safe Routes partnership. They were trying to get some additional sidewalks in. They did community sponsorship and let some of the community come out and decorate. They would basically pay for a paver, like $300 or whatever for a portion of the sidewalk. And then that family could come out and put their name in it or their handprint or whatever they wanted to do. And they built the sidewalk to their school that way in the community. So maybe an idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics there, but it sounded really cool.
That is really cool. And education outreach, these are also part of the Athens in Motion plan. We do have a committee on that. So it seems like that there's a lot of opportunity there to partner and get some stuff going. So I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. We gotta get through T-Splosh time.
Well, good luck and let me know if I can help. I've sent Daniel a few things, so let me know if I can help anymore. And thanks you guys for having me. I appreciate it. And I'll put that link up in the chat. I'll put a couple of them up for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Patty. And I will say this, there was one time in my life where I could walk to school for about 9 months, and I loved it. I felt like I was in a movie. In the movies, they walk to school. And I was in second grade, and I just it opened up a whole new world to me. Maybe that's why I'm on this commission today. So thank you.
It's amazing, isn't it? What that little bit of freedom will do for an 8
Yeah, I walked to school a mile away when I was 5 years old, 5 or 6. So it's a different time.
It's
And I
so
walked till I was
awesome.
16 and got a driver's license. So, and I walked every day.
Yeah, I rode my bike even then. And, I remember, and I hate to sound like uphill in the snow both ways, but I remember putting on my snowsuit to walk to school.
Well,
It's
Michigan.
awesome. Of course.
That's a whole winter.
Yeah, not
That's a
here
great
in
presentation,
Georgia.
Patty. Thank you so much. It really, I've always wanted to learn a lot more about what y'all do and how you help schools. And it's great to hear that. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Y'all have a great night. And like I said, I'll give you some more information in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions or, to meet or have another conversation as well. All right.
Thank you, Patty.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, y'all. Since we're all here, or those of us who are planning to be here, we do need to approve our minutes because we did not do that. And so I think these are the final minutes. So this is different than the link that I included in the current agenda. This is the most recent one that Blaine sent out. Thank you, Blaine. Any other questions or comments? And if there are no comments or corrections, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All right, it's Mark. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, second. All those in favor, aye. Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. All right, those were our minutes. Next on the list, for those of you who came a bit late, maybe I will share my screen again. We have front-loaded some updates and we're already a little bit behind. We are trying to end our meeting at 5:20 because Teresa and I have another one to go off to for T-Splosh. So I will just quickly say where we are with the T-Splosh project proposals and the presentations. Aaron presented ADA sidewalks last week. And Randy presented small sidewalks last night. Y'all will remember Jake, who was formerly on the commission and still does some committee, like a lot of committee work with us, presented Lexington. That was actually last night. Carly goes on tonight. And then next week we have Mark and Carly. And you guys, like, these presentations are tough. The committee, as Teresa and I can tell you, like, we're reviewing 7 to 9 presentations a night. There's about 90 to get through. And I just want to thank Randy and Jake and Aaron for doing such a great job in sharing our what we're trying to do with the public and the committee. And I'm really excited to listen to Carly's presentation this week. And the big one, the big bucket from Mark and Carly next week. And in case you guys haven't been keeping up with that, we are going to ask that presenters submit an alternate if they would like. So be prepared to, we need to be prepared to turn that in pretty quickly. And
I didn't stick around last night. Did y'all come up with a process for that? Is that like a form or?
yes, there's a form and it will go out to presenters. Probably the ones who have already gone, it should go out in a couple of days. And then the ones who haven't gone, it'll go out sometime after that. And I think you'll have like 3 days to turn in an alternate.
And those are by request only. They'll go out to the people that you want.
No, we have decided, or the T-SPOS committee has decided that everyone is welcome to submit an alternate. We're not requiring it. Of course, some projects are so small that there really isn't a way to cut down, but anyone who would like an alternate can submit it. The way it will work with straw polling is, well, okay. So the alternate is either the project at a reduced amount or the project as phased in, but either way, it tends to be a reduced amount. It shouldn't be a brand new project. And we have, I think for all of our projects, already discussed what that would look like to some extent. Atlanta Highway and Lexington would have a phased approach. Small sidewalks would be a smaller bucket, same with ADA, same with big bucket, just less.
Right.
So those should be pretty quick to figure out. Just be ready to turn that in. It will be a little form.
So
And
I'm sorry, the alternate would then be the primary considered?
that's a great question, Randy. You will have the option to indicate to the T-SPOS committee whether you want the original project considered only, the alternate considered only, or for the committee to consider both. Now, when it comes time to vote, the committee members can choose to vote on the original or the alternate. If half the committee votes for your alternate and half votes for the original, then that counts. I don't know, like, how do I say this? If 5 committee members vote for the original and 6 vote for the alternate, that counts as 11 people who voted for your project.
Ah,
And then whichever one is higher is the one that is considered. So what did I say, 6 for the alternate?
Yeah.
So that's the one that wins out.
okay.
I hope that makes sense. Teresa, did I get it
Yeah.
right?
I believe you got it right.
Thank you. So that's potentially coming down the line. That is coming down the line.
Great.
And if we need to do a little meeting to fill out the alternate or need to have a quick phone call, happy to do that when you guys get that form. And that's all I have for T-SPOS. Teresa, is there anything that you wanted to say about it since you're on the committee with me?
Well, just sort of in general, I sure wish we had more money to work with because there are just so many great projects. And unfortunately, we can only fund about 20% of what has been submitted. So, that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. All right, so on to general updates from the committees and commissions. So what I have on here is Open Streets report back, Latinx tabling if that's still happening, and we might need to authorize a fee. Prince Avenue survey if we have any information about that, and if there's anything from the Greenway Commission. So Teresa, tell us about Open Streets Macon. I wish I would have been able to go.
Well, I dragged my husband down to Macon with me, kicking and screaming, but he enjoyed it. So the Open Streets group in Macon, they choose a different location for each event, and they do a couple of events a year. The location they chose a couple weeks ago was in a part of town that doesn't get a lot of love, and it was really nice because they had people volunteering out there to mow and weed whack and pick up trash and just kind of get a little neighborhood pride going. So that was really nice. The route was longer than usual. It connected to a greenway, the name of which I can't remember, but it's right near the big camellia garden that's in Macon. And so it went from this kind of ugly highway all the way to the river and the greenway along the river. There were lots of kids out riding their bikes and running around, and it was very nice. The attendance was not too good because two reasons: COVID, which kills everything, and then also because this area is not a place where people normally go, and so that it just didn't get a lot of traffic. But it was good, and it was really nice. The feeling was good, and there was a wonderful drum line that did a little parade down the route, so it was great. And looking forward to doing one here in Athens. It'll probably be in the spring of 22. And yeah, so I saw Scott Long and I think his name is Randy. Is that his name? Scott's partner in crime. Anyway,
Was it Jason Perry?
Jason Perry. That's who it
Jason.
was. Jason Perry. Yes. So they were there. Yeah. So it was good, and I think we could make something fun happen. It was interesting to watch the way they managed the traffic. They had some streets completely blocked up, and then others where the residents needed to get in and out. They had these, movable barriers, and then, they just made sure everybody knew that they had to drive 10 miles an hour. So it worked out well.
How long was the route?
It was about a mile.
Okay. So really not very big at all. Got you.
No, it was a hot day though, so it felt like longer than it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Teresa, thank you so much for going to Open Streets Macon. I mean, this is one of the events that Mayor Gertz has pointed to as being a model of success for Open Streets, and certainly understand how COVID can, put a damper on those plans. But it's great. What's great is they do it every month, right?
Something like that. I don't know what
Yeah.
their interval is, but they do it a few times a year. So,
Cool.
but yeah, it was good. I'm glad I went. Now I'm feeling happy about our doing one in Athens.
Yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
And you are also doing tabling for Latinx on October 9th, and you had said that there's a tabling fee.
Well, they're not doing the Latinx festival. It has been
Okay.
canceled.
Okay,
So
I missed that.
no, I just found out yesterday. So
I see. I'm sorry.
that's all right. I mean, it is what it is. Better
Yeah.
safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So-
At some point we'll get back to normal. Yeah, maybe we can do some tabling in the spring at various events. Get back to where we left off with that.
Right. Won't that be nice?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Teresa. And Mark, are there survey results from the Prince Avenue survey? And Daniel might know this too, but I thought you'd like to report back if there were.
I just unmuted you, Mark.
What's that?
I just unmuted you.
Oh, thank you. Is that something, I do have some, let me see if I can find it real quickly. I didn't realize put me on the
There are survey. Well, he's looking for it. There are survey responses. We have multiple people look at them in different ways and trying to kind of normalize the data and figure out kind of, it's
Okay.
like the results aren't 100%, we will do what the responses say. It's more like, okay, we all have our backgrounds and things and
So
and
I've got it up.
looking at the data.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got it up.
thanks. Go ahead.
Basically, what this shows in green means it was in the top third, the upper tertile, as we like to say, of the respondents. And there were different ways of looking at it. The percent likely, like to have or must have, the percent must have, the percent of the total responding. So that not everybody, the number responding varied by question. So we did it as a percentage of the total responding. And it's pretty clear crosswalk improvements were very popular at several intersections, least so at Newton Street. George Avenue mid-block crossing in Normaltown would be, by the hospital was very, very popular. And bike lanes, very popular throughout. So that got very highly rated. Less highly rated, which surprised us. And this was one of those things we talked about and said, yeah, well, they may not have rated it high, but we think it's super important, are curb cuts, for example. And the three laning, where's three laning? Three laning did not get a lot of love. It had the most sort of negative responses, the 29, 14, and 27 down here. It was most supported from Barber to Pulaski. The sort of the most in town section by the Bottle Works in that area, and less well loved the further you went out. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's something that we wouldn't consider.
Right.
The public input is not favoring it.
Right. And do you think that's an education type thing, this perception that, will increase traffic or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's certainly true of, not only the public, but also a lot of the transportation staff share those concerns. And, it is a corridor that has a traffic volume that's at the upper edge of where you would consider three laning, frankly. So it is, and it may not be, we're not talking the whole corridor, we're really primarily talking the millage to Pulaski is what internally what we've been talking about. So yeah, I think part of it's education, but there are legitimate concerns given the volume, which is in the 20,000 per day, and that's kind of toward the upper end of where three laning has been implemented in other communities. Now, but the folks at Tool are quite favorable about it, and there are obviously real benefits. It will cause more delay. It could cause more delay. It doesn't always, but most places where they've implemented three laning, there's been a roughly 20 to 40% reduction in crashes. So, that's kind of a plus, I would think. And I think we have to weigh that,
In my general understanding is three laning gets rid of lane jockeying, which slows everyone down.
And particularly when you have a mid-block crossing and somebody's crossing mid-block and they're screened by a car, and then they step out from behind that car that is stopped and another car is zooming past them. I've almost hit somebody doing that because, I just did not see them. They sort of stepped out from a bus was parked and I thought the bus was just stopped because it's a bus. And so anyway, so yeah, that's an area that's going to there's going to be a lot of discussion around the three laning. The bike lanes, I was very pleased to see, that protected bike lanes were something that were, very much supported throughout. And as you walk that corridor, there are plenty of areas where you could imagine losing parking or parking that's really not heavily utilized that could be, become bike lanes.
Cool.
The other thing they didn't like was center raised medians down mainly in Normaltown.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that traffic engineers like in general. I don't want to speak for them, but that reduces potential conflicts, and it also has the potential to create a narrower feeling street. So that will tend to slow traffic down. What we're really a big part of the discussion has been shifting the conversation from how many cars can we put through the corridor, how fast, and what's the delay, to how can we make it as safe as possible. And that's a generational shift to some extent, and it's also I think it's a shift in attitude in terms of what's important, Vision Zero and all that. So
Well, thank you,
I'll stop
Mark.
sharing. I'll unshare.
Yeah. And yeah, thanks for giving us like a quick look at the raw data and what's going on, or I guess, the analysis so far. And yeah, we can come back to that too in October if you have more that you've finessed. I know that we're kind of breezing through things quickly. So thank you. Carly, real quickly, any updates from the Greenway Commission that you would like us to know about?
Nothing pressing, although I was supposed to have a call with Ross Hinkle, the chair, today and didn't get to it. So I'm hoping that I didn't miss anything. I am going to call him really quick right after I mute just to make sure. But for now, Daniel, you were in the last meeting. We didn't really have anything.
No, I don't think so. I mostly gave my update. Todd, do you know? I guess you don't go to those, do you? So
I'll call Ross really quick, but
yeah.
from, I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, I don't go usually.
Okay.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, and Teresa and I heard from Ross last night about was it last night? About some Greenway projects. So,
Yeah.
yay. So we will kick it over to Todd. So, got any updates for us? I hear that the new section of the Firefly Trail is going to open this week.
Yes, we have a ribbon cutting on Friday morning. It's kind of a special invite because of COVID. We don't want a huge number of people there, so they haven't invited everyone. I don't think. I think it's a little more limited, but yes, it'll be ribbon cutting on Friday at 11. So, and then phase 2, they're acquiring right away, continuing to move forward on that, and then the trestle, project, they're driving the bents or whatever you call it into the ground to start doing the shoring and all that other construction on that part of the trail. And then the greenway section of the cemetery greenway section, they had some legal wrapping up some legal paperwork, and hopefully in 30 days or so we'll see a little bit of construction on the cemetery section as well. So and that's pretty much the active ones. The Cars Creek is still rolling forward with construction. The one off Barnett Shoals and Carriage Lane, that one's moving in design, and hopefully I think next year we should go into construction for that one as well. So and that's most of it.
That's great. Wonderful. Thank you, Todd. And it's wonderful to have these opportunities. They're safe for vulnerable users to use. I mean, I think there can be a tendency to think that they're just a luxury item, these trails, but I see them as highways and ways for people to get to and from destinations. And so
we've seen a lot of people walking on phase 2 into town. So it'll be interesting to get trail counts for those and everything. So
how many miles is that section that's about to open?
Is 1.88 miles.
1.88. Okay, thanks.
So we'll have about 3 miles of Firefly in downtown built once the trestle is in place, and then you got the little over a mile in Winterville. So then we have about 3 miles left to build.
Great, thank you.
So anyone who lives at Hallmark or any of these residences along the trail now have a way to get into town that is safe, and I mean, it's great. I hope it's going to be a game changer, because I think it will. And I've seen a lot of people out, a lot of families, and it's just great. Very excited.
And we should be getting wayfinding going pretty soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully on Firefly, and then Mel has set aside a chunk of money for wayfinding on the Greenway as well. So we're going to try to roll some of the more confusing areas to try to get some of our wayfinding signage that me and Daniel had originally designed up, hopefully in the next 6 months to a year.
Great. I hope that folks on this commission will get a chance to check it out. There's already water fountains out there and benches and recycling and trash receptacles, and there's the pedestrian signal at the racetrack. I can't remember if that's working or not yet, but it's there. The blinky flashy potential is there.
I thought you posted a picture of you at the Blinky Flashy.
Yes. Actually, those are my friends. Who I drag out to this stuff. No, they're excited.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll turn it over to Daniel. Daniel, I'm sorry that we only have 15 minutes. What do you want to prioritize?
So I think discussion about Cherokee is important. I'm pulling up my list right now from last time. So do you have the plans that you can share, or do you need me to pull those out?
Could you pull them up?
Yes. So Cherokee Road is the I think one of our first projects that was funded. It was upgraded from sidewalks to a multi-use path with a commission-defined option. And so we are currently working on the 85% engineering documents, construction plans. So you'll have to excuse the speed of my computer is not at its peak right now, but I am going to pull up the story map, and then we'll go from there. Gosh, my computer is driving me crazy. Nothing's come up on the screen yet, right?
No.
Great, cool.
It looks like it's trying.
Yeah. Okay.
Needs to try harder.
Yeah, tell me about it. All right, are we seeing it?
Yes.
Great. So the project start, from what I can tell, that was based on the Greenway connection. So this has kind of been, this is what I think personally I have some issue with. I'd really like to see this extend all the way down to Lexington. But do y'all have any awareness of why it started at the edge of Lowe's and not at the intersection?
I know we've got a little bit of sidewalk there, but I thought we were going down. It's been a while too. I thought we were fully going down.
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
Yeah, so unfortunately, somehow this is how it ended up. So my recommendation for you guys, just to distill it down, would be to highlight the need for bringing it to the intersection. Now that would require additional funds, but right now the construction plans are essentially on the south side of Cherokee Road. And I believe these are the alternatives that were presented.
Can I
And
say something?
yes, you can. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm looking at Google Earth here. There is sidewalk along Cherokee Road up to Lexington Road. So I think that's why the project starts back where it does. I seem to remember that there's sidewalk on both sides of Cherokee Road up to about where that storage place is. And that's
Wonder,
where
is this something that potentially got lost in translation when that got left behind when the mayor and commission or the commission decided to go with the multi-use path and then,
maybe,
yeah. So
Yeah.
if if we're gonna lean into the multi-use path that the commission overrode us about, it needs to come down to Lexington.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a multi-use path there is, it's a little bit, it's a luxury because I don't see a lot of bicycle traffic, but you know what? It, if that's what the commission and the mayor want to do, that's fine with me. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah, and we've leaned into that with our Lexington
Yeah.
Road project recommendations. So yeah, Daniel, how do we make sure that the project does go down to Lexington for a multi-use
I
path?
would just take a vote that maybe or write a recommendation for your comments. I think a vote would be more would be better. That
Oh.
you would like to see this project extend down to Lexington with the that it appears as though that was kind of lost in translation when the switch over from sidewalks to multi-use path. So somebody wants to put forth a motion with that kind of phrasing.
Yeah, I'll put forth a motion, and the motion is that since we are going with the multi-use path option for Cherokee Road, the project should extend all the way down to Lexington Road.
Second.
That's my
That's
motion.
correct.
Thank you, Craig. Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I don't know if there's any more discussion on it, but yeah, that's fine with me. Aye.
Right.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, we made a vote tonight.
Yay. So if you
Yes.
could just send that to me and I will forward it along to our people. Aside from that, I guess so that's like one comment that we have agreed upon. You know, just to touch base on the other bits, it closes out this sidewalk gap, which is really helpful. I'm trying to get it to load in. So I think that's important. The black lines are the existing sidewalks. So this yellow one would close out that sidewalk gap. The multi-use path would end at Cherokee. None of this is slated for construction. This is all just design. These are the locations, I believe, in this option for the mid-block crossings. And I think alternative 4 is the one that was selected because it builds sidewalk on the north side and then there's the mid-block crossing there. And I did already get some comments from Todd as well with Leisure Services. Todd, is there anything about this in addition to that I mean, I know this is kind of put you on the spot, but
Yeah. Sorry, I was. No, I mean, like, I don't have any more comments. No, I don't think so.
okay.
Oh, because we talked about the driveway, getting across that driveway, because the way the engineer had it designed, it was the water was flowing basically into the sidewalks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forwarded that along. I'll make sure that carries through. And I mean, personally, I would like to see connectivity into the park, but I know that
Yeah.
this is not like into the park like project. So I was disappointed to see that there's no multi-use path on the side that has the park, especially if there's been a lot of talk about airport trail. But I know, I mean, they specifically there is an actual barrier to doing it on the north side, which is the cemetery over here. And so that really would have required to go north side and then cross to get back over to the south side. And so this is what was chosen. So I think ultimately connectivity is good. It doesn't, we'll need some sort of transition here. It might also be good to have, and I'm kind of curious what you guys think, but coming from the park, if you're on your bike and you want to get on the multi-use path, I would imagine we want a curb cut straight across from the park. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yes, please give me a
yeah,
curb cut.
yeah. So then in that case, let's do, is that another one that you'd want to put a vote on? And then those will be the two main comments.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to request a curb cut across from the park for people biking.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, carries.
Are there any other points on this particular project that you want to review before we go into the final construction plans?
I don't. When you were talking about there would need to be additional funding, you meant additional funding for the construction plans, to have them go all the way to Lexington, right? We're still gonna need to do that.
That's where it's really up to them to figure that out, because I think SPLOST office has to work with our engineering division, has to work with everything, within the constraints of the commission defined option. But personally, I don't see an issue with this was an oversight, or this was, even if this was designated as, because this is a greenway trail through here, that greenway trail was realigned in 2020. So is now like on street here, and it would make sense that we would want to tie into that future plan. So I'm gonna try to argue that fact, which is just, you know, the scope has changed, apart from, the choice here. So the most sensible thing is to do an add-on, but I gotta get everyone on board with that. So it's helpful to have this from you guys so that I can kind of go with that in my pocket into these discussions.
Craig had an idea in the comments. Get Lowe's to pay for it. Not a bad idea.
That would be nice, but I think they'd have to do a pretty substantial remodel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments on the construction plans for Cherokee Road? All right, in our last 4 minutes, Daniel, what else would you like to get from us? I know it's tough.
I think trying to pull it up. Let's see. Staff report. Sorry. Too many things on my screens. I guess aside from that, I don't think we're waiting on anything with any of our other projects. There are some other initiatives that it'd be good to partner up on that are kind of new projects, but I want to check off some of my old ones first. And then I'm actively working on the Tallahassee roadway safety audit now, so that will be essentially, I'm making a story map that will show this is what a roadway safety audit is. Here are all the comments we received along the Tallahassee Road corridor. I think it was 74 or something like that. And then we distill those comments into projects. And so we have a project list of around 50 different projects, ranging from immediate, which is less than 30 days, to mid-range, which is 30 days to a year, and then long-term, which is more than a year. And so all of those have been categorized, and they have different dollar amounts kind of predicted. And so a lot of the immediate ones are typically maintenance or you know, paint the stop bar, move the stop sign, you know, mow the grass, that kind of thing. We are a bit
Wow.
behind schedule on that, but go ahead.
Yeah, wow, 50 projects, that's a lot. Do any of those factor in things that are coming, like the bridge replacement that's going to happen, the Tallahassee Road multi-use path? Are those in there?
Yeah, so it's kind of a mixture of here are like one of the comments that was repeated is, you know, need sidewalks, need sidewalks. With the multi-use path, you know, we'll basically be able to say we already have funding for multi-use path. It's scheduled in this particular year. And my plan with this is, you know, this group of projects gets sent to mayor and commission. They review the whole thing, and then I would assume they can add more if they want. But you know, we did the safety audit with a bunch of our staff and other professionals. Patty Pittman was there, as well as Sam Harris from GDOT and some other organizations. And with that, we can essentially create this kind of bucket of projects, and then we have a few different buckets of money. But this is actually really good timing because I just did the multimodal safety program, and this is one of those 4 sub projects where I would then be able to say, okay, well, we have money to fund the implementation of some of these projects. And so specifically with multi-use path, I'm thinking one of the main things we want to do is really look at existing like where are people most walking now? You know, not just we're going to build it until it runs out, but let's strategically place, you know, whether it's around the school or down closer from a major neighborhood where there's going to be a lot of people walking or currently walking. There's some areas where people are walking in the road because they can't walk on the shoulder. So just making sure that our placement is kind of what's most needed so that future rounds of this can fill in those gaps. But yeah, it does factor in those things. You know, it ranges from a roundabout at Mitchell Bridge Road and Oglethorpe and Tallahassee, basically putting in a roundabout there as like a conceptual exercise. So, you know, each of these projects would then, when they get implemented, all the long-term projects especially, those would have their own lists of, you know, this is a work session and all of that kind of thing. So public input. But this is just kind of like, okay, this is going to be the thing that guides us in the kind of implementation of that safety corridor, as well as, you know, a lot of those other fixes. So.
I have one more clarifying question, then Teresa and I are going to have to go. And we'll adjourn the meeting. Is this just along Tallahassee Road, or does this include any of the neighborhood roads that are off of that, like Westchester Drive? Like Teresa and I heard a project from some folks. They don't have sidewalks and they have a ton of bus stops. So I was just curious.
So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just pull up kind of where our surveys were. We stopped at, I believe, 14 different locations along the road, and it was along the actual corridor. There is some kind of, you know, specifically, I believe there was a transit stop on Westchester that has a really dug-in desire line to the intersection there. And so that was one where we talked about putting in filling in that sidewalk gap. But for the most part, yes, it's on the road itself. I'm trying to, okay, see if this works. So is it coming up for you guys? Great. So basically, so in this case right here, shoot, this is something that I need to get worked out. I'm not sure why it's doing this, but okay. So Westchester is right here, Tallahassee Road. So you know, you can pop up and you can look at the picture and see, you know, here's this really dug in Desire line that goes kind of right past the bus stop and down to the road. And so this will be really helpful because we essentially have these are all the comments. We did the roadway safety audit from the intersection of Mitchell Bridge Road and finished it at Three Oaks. And so some of these we identified where there was a traffic light that was turned the wrong way or missing a traffic light that should already be there. So this lighting issue, for instance, the street light was not facing the intersection at Vaughn Road, and another person commented that this is really dark at night. And so we've already put in a work order with our utility coordinator, and he's going to get that taken care of. And that's something that's, you know, less than $1,000, but it's really hard for us to, you know where all of these issues are. And so we kind of have these corridors or intersections even. So we have a list of future ones, but as you go through, there will be kind of this list of projects, immediate, mid-range, and then long range. And they kind of talk about, you know, this is a very rough draft, so it's missing some stuff, but this is what it will look like once we're finished. But yeah, to answer your question, no, it does not include the side roads.
Gotcha. This is really cool. I'm just so excited to see the way our tools have evolved in Athens. And I hope that this helps our residents just in general feel more heard and that, you know, things are going to happen. So I just get excited about this in general. But Teresa and I do have to go. And I see that Mark has a question here. So you guys are welcome to continue talking about this. And I don't know if I can delegate the adjournment authority, but actually, I probably will just have to adjourn.
Let me answer him real
I gotta leave
quick.
at 5:30 anyway.
Yeah.
With that, go ahead and send that into traffic engineering, Tim Griffith, or you can send it to me and I'll forward it along.
Okay.
Whenever you see, so in the comments for viewers, it says, I noticed the pedestrian signal at Lexington 10 loop connecting the Firefly with Greenway was turned 90 degrees last week. So yeah, if there's ever any
connecting in air quotes.
yeah. If there's ever any signal issues where, you know, I've been at a stoplight before and, you know, a third of the LEDs were out. I just, you know, you just call that in to traffic engineering, and they'll go out and check it out. But something like this, yeah, they'll get out there on the day of and usually take care of it. So you can send that in an email to me, or you can go ahead and just send it straight to Tim Griffith.
Done.
Thanks.
All right. So we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Daniel, let's talk. If we need to do another meeting, we can try and fit that in. And thanks for trying to get in as much as you can. So yeah, you guys, you're welcome to watch the meetings. Carly is presenting tomorrow night, like I said, and then Carly and Mark are presenting next Monday. And even if you don't get to watch those meetings, those presentations will be posted on the TSMOS 2023 website. And feel free to go through those projects and comment on them. I think that would be great. There's a lot of pedestrian bike stuff in general in the neighborhoods. Of course, feel free to comment on the projects that we have submitted. So y'all have a good night. I'm sorry to rush off.
I've got a 5:30 as well. I'll be going too. Thanks.
Okay,
You
bye.
guys.